Welcome to the latest Star Sports Zoom room. It's not a Derby Zoom room, it's a St Ledger Birmingham Cup Zoom room this week. A huge night at Barr taking place on Thursday. Two really cracking finals to look forward to, and big prizes on offer as well. £10,000 to the winner of the St Ledger and £6,500 to the winner of the Birmingham Cup. I'm pleased I'm joined by Lofty from Star Sports, of course, and also Joe Conneely, who is now an RPGTV pundit, but also very well connected to the Carol Weatherall kennel, and they have Candyman going for them in the Birmingham Cup. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. Let's talk Birmingham Cup first, and I'm going to come to you first of all, Joe, because we spoke about Candyman before the competition started, and you actually saw him at the kennels and said he was looking the best you'd ever seen him.
Yeah, this was before the first round. I went up on the Thursday of the first round, and he was absolutely bouncing. I went and had a little play with him in his kennel, and he was just absolutely bouncing. You know, this is only his third competition, and he's reached 3 Category 1 finals. So, you know, reached the Laurels final at Barr the start of this year in April time. He reached a 3 steps final last month, and he's in his third competition, and he's reached another Category 1 final. So he's been a fantastic dog so far, and I'm sure there's plenty more to come with him as well.
What have you made of him at Barr in this competition, and what sort of chance do you give him in the final? Because he's quite a big price.
He's been running okay in defeat. You know, for me, the track, I know they gave it 10 fast last week. It was a bit quicker than 10 fast last week, in my opinion. I think some of the times that were around, it was a bit quicker than 10 fast. He ran well beyond Forest Gold. You know, to catch Ballin' Be Lucky and on the line is a decent run, because he's getting stronger, Ballin' Be Lucky, and I know he normally needs to lead, but you know, when he's turned where he has and he's got after him, he's run okay. He ran okay in the first round behind Ballymac Conti of Andrew Kibbles, and again ran well after getting a little bit of trouble at the bend. I think the draws worked out well on Thursday. I think as long as Headford Flash gets out his way early on, which he should, Havana Class will be edging in left, and as long as he gets around the first bend with the weather forecast expected, I think he's a big runner.
And a decent price as well. And Lofty, Candyman is the dog that going into the Derby, which sadly he didn't end up running in, you really fancied him, didn't you? I think he was your number 1 UK selection.
He was, yeah. I think quite a few put him up for the Derby. Yeah, we did a little video and obviously had to put it out with me chipping him up in a non-runner. I think he broke a toe, or dislocated a toe prior to the Derby. As you say, come back from that. But yeah, he's not quite to me. He's shown, I thought before we showed you before the Derby at Toaster, you say that a dog's got the 2 Cat 1 finals. As you say, he might have won the 3 steps, but then, you know, put into the kennels off the last bend by the recalcitrant Lambe Caesar. But other than that, you know, he's run perfectly well there, run perfectly well in his 2 starts here around Barr. You know, he's got plenty of form, as Joe said last year when he got to the Laurels final behind Havana Class. So, you know, he's got the Barr form on the card. He's just, not quite shown the same spark for me this year as he did last year. But it's a good final, but a lot of dogs on there got the wrong boxes. You know, I think Havana Class is going to smash out the 4 and immediately make a dart towards the rails. Duke de Niro is probably one of the tightest rails I've seen. You know, he's unbeaten in the comp so far, but he's unbeaten for having track 1 twice. And, you know, he's glued those rails and been quite strong. Could have any cards going to move off a little bit, I think, from track 1. So lots of dogs, I think, we could rather be driven, 11, drawn slightly differently. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of Headford Flash. I thought he was very impressive in the first round he got out, and I think he's got an absolute superb draw. As Joe said, you know, he's actually Candyman early on. Obviously, he's an absolute million, but just sitting on the outside, it takes a ping. But the going could be, it was lightning fast last week. You know, Forest Gold's done 28.08. I mean, that's literally nudging the wall with track record times. And, you know, I know Forest Gold's a fast dog on his day when he gets everything right, but when you see him doing 28.08, you know the track's definitely on fire. But no, it's a really, really good final, and we're looking forward to that one, as well as a Ledger on a Thursday night.
Have you priced up the Birmingham Cup, Lofty?
So Forest Gold actually is our favourite, or just purely on the run last week. If he repeats that, you know, he'll win again. So he's 9-4, Havana Class 3, can get out and get across, but he needs to. Headford Flash 130. I'm a bit shorter him than he is at other places, and purely because of the fact I fancy him. Candyman 9-2. Duke de Niro 6-1, so I think loss of track 1's a big loss to him, and Killavani Kaiser's the outside at 14-1.
Yeah, and Killavani Kaiser, incidentally, a dog that Mark Wallis thinks an awful lot of, so that it could look a big price. But Joe, certainly Kevin Hutton with a strong hand. Forest Gold seems to be running at the top of his game at the moment. He goes in trap 3, and Hutton is delighted with the draw for Headford Flash in trap 6. He's got a great chance of picking up this competition.
Yeah, I don't see how you couldn't be happy with Headford Flash's draw. I think if you handpicked it, I think that is the exact draw that you'd give. Forest Gold in 3, it's always been known to be a pinging box at Perry Barr as well, trap 3. So I'd expect Forest Gold to get first run on Duke de Janeiro and Cordovani Kaiser, who's been a fantastic dog. He's just not quite at it himself. The only concern would be Havana Class in 4, who will be darting left straight away from the boxes. You know, he's got plenty of early, so he could cause Forest Gold plenty of issues early on. But yeah, Headford Flash looks really well drawn. I'm just hoping he is out of our way with Candyman, and if we get a clear run at him, I'm hoping we can go close with him.
So your tip would be a 5-6 forecast, maybe reverse forecast.
Yeah, obviously I know Lofty's gone a bit shorter than some firms elsewhere. So I've seen 4-1. I think Headford Flash, which looks a decent price as well. You know, a really, really well drawn dog. 345 sectional twice in a trial and a race is just unheard of, really, at Perry Barr. It's a fantastic sectional, so that'll take some leading if he comes away. You know, he's got plenty of early, and again, looks really well drawn in outside Candyman. So I'll go with my heart and I'll go 5/6, but that form could easily be turned around with 6/5 as well.
Okay, well, let's turn our attentions then to the St. Ledger, because it's actually quite an open final. Looking at the betting, it does vary in places, Lofty. How's it looking for Star?
It does, yeah. I mean, Blueberry Bullet, I've got 2. I think that's the biggest price about Blueberry Bullet. I might have seen 9 or 4 in places. 5-2 Nighttime Danny, 11-4 Space Jet, and then the bigger prices are 8 Savannah Volcano, 10 Antigua Me, and a 10-1 Guri Steve, who's a lot bigger other places, but I think he can run a big race as well. Again, really, really good final this. And, you know, the Perry Barr 710, I think, is the best staying trip in the country. It's not like the short run to the bends like you get the Monmores and, you know, your Central Parks. And I just think the Ho 740 is a little bit too far for some dogs. And this, I think, is an absolute perfect trip, this 710. Nice long run to the corner, sorts them out, and, you know, it sorts out the stamina as well. This and the virtually similar 712 at Toaster, to me, are the 2 best staying trips in the country. So it's a good test. Just catches that difference between the sort of short 6-bend dogs who might struggle to get this trip, and it sometimes brings in the marathon dogs slightly more. And, you know, as you've seen with Space Jet and Savannah Volcano, certainly Space Jet's future, I think, could be able to marathon trips, and so will Blueberry Bullets, what I saw of her last week. But this is a really, really good final. Yeah,
and those 2 bitches for me are so exciting, and particularly Space Jet. I think Jo, you know, only made her debut for Matt Dartnell back in July at Central Park. She's coming forward leaps and bounds. We certainly haven't seen the best of her yet, albeit she will be stepped up in trip eventually. And Blueberry Bullet, you know, again, a youngster. It could end up being quite a rivalry between these 2 going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch going forward. She looks an absolute freak, if we're being honest. Space Jet, the ground that she gives away early, and she just goes into complete 5th gear out the 4th bend, really. And yeah, she looks a bit of a freak. I was actually with at a decent price Savannah Volcano. I thought Savannah Volcano could turn fairly handy. I think she'd turn 3rd or 4th. I think if she led Space Jet, I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if Space Jet was to catch Savannah Volcano. I can't see that. I think she could turn fairly handy as Savannah Volcano, and at a price I think the race could suit. Nighttime Danny could come away and maybe cause Blueberry Bullet some issues early on, who should get first run on Guri Stevens Space Jet. Again, she'd be struggling if she didn't manage to lead 1 and 3 there. So Antigua Me could have a say early on as well. Got plenty of pace early doors, and yeah, I thought Savannah Volcano at a price could run well at a decent price. I think, you know, I've seen about 6-8 to 1. I think that's a decent each way price that for me.
Yeah, Lofty actually said 8 to 1, I noticed, which is one of the biggest prices around. And she is a half sister to Space Jet in Trap 3, obviously a little bit older. We shouldn't discount Nighttime Danny either, Lofty, another one that's improving and unbeaten to the final.
So he really lightly raced 2 over the 6 bends. Only made his debut when he did the track record actually on his debut at Toaster over that 712 in the supporting comp, the man alongside the Derby, and then got beaten in the final by Keshtor and Shakira. But yeah, it's come to Perry Barr, you know, as you say, beat I Am's a Royal purely on merit the other week, and everybody, you know, with a big price, and unbeaten through the comp. And, you know, for Steve Rayner, who was a bit of a sort of under the radar trainer a little bit, it'd be good to see him get a big win. And as you say, maybe the draw outside, to me, he's got a lead, but he certainly can do. And say a dog with plenty of all-round pace, and yeah, it's good to see him in the final. And you know, with some of the so-called bigger guns here, he's got to get first run, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him make every yard of the running. He would just about be my selection if you put my head on the block. But Blueberry Bullet, I mean, I watched her run last week, and if she produces last week's run, you know, she will win. I mean, she could have gone round again last week. She just did everything, start, stays, and, you know, got the all-round pace. But to me, she's got to do that again and do everything right again. And in a race where there's lots of strong runners, say, looking all around, I mean, Space Jet, I think it's a bit of a crank, to be honest, to be polite about Space Jet. Like most of those volcanoes, they got an awful lot of speed and an awful lot of chasing pace. But yeah, I think she could. I mean, I watched her in the first round, and literally I was on the runway going to Belfast for the Irish Derby, trying to watch a heat as I was taking off, and I see her tailed off at the corner, and then I managed to see her jutted a bit, and I saw her in sort of second place. So she didn't qualify from there. So, and you say definitely when you see her over the marathon trip, it could be great. And as we've said, these bitches going forward, the Space Jet and Blueberry Bullet, you could see a nice little trilogy here, like with Savannah Volcano and I Am Royal, having these sort of match bets in the future in the big marathons. And this has been a start over the 7:10, but it's a great race. Looking forward to this final immensely.
Yeah, I think I would have to go with Space Jet because she's answering every question asked of her, and Matt Dartnell says she's improving still. Her track craft is improving, but let's not forget Mark Wallis has 5 St Ledgers to his name as well. That is quite an amazing record. But nighttime Danny for you then, Lofty, and Joe, you're going with the bigger price Savannah Volcano.
Yeah, I'm going to chuck up Volcano at a decent price today. I think the price is wrong. I'd probably have Volcano around a 9-2, 5-1 shot in that race. I think the race could really suit. And again, I'd probably make nighttime Danny the danger, as Lofty said. But it's a fantastic race and really intriguing. It really can work out in different ways, this race. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Just regarding the trip, I think it's like Lofty said, the perfect trip. For a St. Ledger, you need to have that big long run to the corner to let dogs sort themselves out. Races can be won or lost over the short runs to the bend, and I don't think that would be fair for the competition of a St. Ledger. I think if you get the long trip to the bend, you can kind of get yourself into a little bit of trouble. But if you stay well enough, you can work yourself back in the race. So yeah, fantastic competition. It's a fantastic trip, and may the best dogs win on the night.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great night at Perry Barr. Looking forward to those 2 finals in particular. But there are, of course, some supporting finals. And Joe, before we leave you, I wanted to get your thoughts on Trump's Benefit, who, of course, goes in the puppy final for Carol Weatherall.
How he won last week is beyond me. He done it all wrong and still managed to win. He's very fast. I think we all know how fast the dog is. And if the racing room appears for him on Thursday night, then for me, he is the fastest dog in the race, and he'll go on to win. I know Droopy started in 28-20 last week, but look, fantastic run. But the track was absolutely on fire. So for this dog to do what he done, to still come from behind after getting in all that trouble and go up to win was a frightening run. So yeah, if the gaps appear for Trump's Benefit, then I'd be surprised if he didn't win.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us, guys. Joe is in the car. He's actually on his way up to watch Celtic tomorrow night, aren't you? I don't know, Lofty, I'll put you on the spot if you give him a price for Celtic to win tomorrow night.
What's that? Is that Champions League? I'm off work for 2 days, so I've lost track with football.
Europa League, Celtic Leverkusen.
Yeah, of course, you're in the other.
Thursday.
Me and Ryan are all on Leverkusen tomorrow.
You're all on Leverkusen?
Yeah, I think they'll beat Celtic here. It'll be a good game. It'll be like a basketball match. Both teams just want to attack. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to the atmosphere as well.
Well, there you go. Tip in the football as well. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And it is a really great night's race in the St. Ledger, of course, being a real classic, and the Birmingham Cup as well at Perry Barr on Thursday night. Thanks for your selections and good luck.
Cheers, Julie.
Thanks, Jules. Pleasure.